Hello, this is episode 10, I think. Yes, we're back. We're back in different locations as well, so we definitely haven't been sitting for an hour trying to work out how to record it by video, but we're still audio this week, but we'll get there eventually. Um, Hi Greg, you
Excuse me.
alright?
Not like that. Back in Cardiff, back in Wales.
Yeah, he's back on Discord.
Yep.
Kyle
We all
was having the most difficult technical difficulties, I would say. But
what's
yeah,
new?
so
What's new?
true. So yes, speaking of video now, all our videos are on YouTube, so please check it out. Made some snazzy thumbnails, so that's exciting. And we're hoping as of next week to start filming them, but we'll play by ear, see how it goes. So, kick us off this week. We're going to look at the future of Scottish international football. There's been a few talking points, so I thought it would be interesting to talk about. Let's start off with a few weeks back. I think we talked about it actually, but Craig Gordon injury. Where does that leave Scotland goalkeeper wise? Does anybody use want to start off?
One man, Xander Clark.
I
Well,
mean,
I think Xander Clark was gonna be the next big thing, but I don't know. It's gonna seem to take a back seat after the cup triumphs with St Johnstone.
After he left Queens.
Well, no, he won a cup double at St Johnstone, and he was looking promising. I think he did get a call up, but I don't think he start. Did he start? I think he became starter friendly. I can't
uh,
remember.
I think he does have a cap at least. He doesn't. He doesn't have any official caps. John McLaughlin's got two.
I remember Robbie McCrory got called up, but I don't think he played. He was just called up as like a last minute replacement.
Yeah. So for the game against Turkey on the 16th of November, the three goalkeepers in the squad were Craig Gordon, Liam Kelly, and Robbie McCrory. Robbie McCrory, of course, not playing for Rangers. Uh, Liam Kelly having moved from QPR to Motherwell on loan last season has
Wait,
now played 22 games for Motherwell this season for Liam Kelly.
wait, who does Liam Kelly play for?
Motherwell.
Good, thank you.
I,
I can't believe you fell for that.
I was just surprised that he played for QPR because I completely forgot that fact. Yeah, I mean, if you'd remove Craig Gordon from the list of goalkeepers, the options aren't exactly good.
David Marshall, come back.
He's
I'm not too
retired.
sure. Yeah, I think he did retire.
He
Yeah,
did retire
the
from the
comeback.
national team.
The comeback tour. Elvis Presley did comeback tour.
So that
I,
leaves us with a choice of John McLaughlin and Robbie McCrory, neither of whom are playing for Rangers, and one of which, John McLaughlin, I'm not convinced by. It leaves Xander Clark, who is getting a game for Hearts, but only because Craig Gordon's
Gordon's
still
injured.
there.
Yeah,
Liam Kelly, really, and nobody else, really. It's a worry.
yeah, that's something we can definitely look more into in the future. I think so. That's a concern. On the flip side, we've got a lot of promising young players coming through, but all of them seem to be in the fullback position. Because obviously you've got the captain Robertson, who's obviously established, and you've got Tierney, who's
Well,
also
Established.
established.
but yeah,
Say that again, sorry.
playing at centre half, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue. And then you've got
He's a
Doig
natural
coming
left
through.
back.
Yeah, yeah. You got Doig. He's a left back as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And you've got Patterson coming through at right back, which is decent, I suppose. But it's
Young
either
Ramsey.
him or O'Donnell. Yeah, now Ramsey actually is a right back as well.
Ramsey, Hickey.
Heck yeah, yeah. So you look at all these players, and they're all in the same position.
Well,
Typical.
Hickey's both sides plus a bit of centre mid, so he's jack of all trades.
Yeah, and I think Hickey looked fairly good when he had to come in that last batch of games there. But, gone are the days when it's Stephen O'Donnell or no one.
Yeah, which is promising. I'd say it
Greg
puts us in
Taylor
good
as well.
stead. Yeah,
Greg
puts
Taylor
us
was
in,
only 25. I didn't realise that. I thought he was a lot older than he is.
I thought he was older than that.
But you're old, fat boy.
I'm not condoning that. That's terrible.
That's was body shaming.
Fat shaming, yeah. So yeah, who? To be fair, I'll come back to this one because we could go into it in another point I've got to make. Me and Greg were talking about it earlier, and Greg thinks, "What do you, Greg? You go for it. Up front, explain what you think."
I mean, the current option seems to be Lyndon Dykes, Che Adams. If you look beyond that, if you look at, the options we've had on the bench, we've had Ross Stewart, who is doing well for Sunderland and is only 26, probably the future in that position. Jacob Brown's got called up for Stoke, from Stoke, but hasn't really done much in a Scotland shirt. I'm not entirely convinced that, Dykes has played well for the national team. Yes, he's got 8 goals and 26 caps. Che Adams has got 5 and 22 caps. The goals seem to be like they're going to be a bit of a problem, especially since we're playing, Norway and Spain in this kind of batch of qualifiers.
Yes. I think he's been called up a few times, but I see Kevin Nisbet's playing quite well.
Also, hat-trick at the weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the goals and they were quite good. So maybe in good form he'll get called up. I believe he has been called up before. I don't know how many appearances he's made.
Not quite young as well.
Yeah, he'll be early.
Kevin Nisbet is, 25, Kevin Nisbet is.
Good 10 years in him.
Yeah, 10 caps for Scotland.
Did
I'm
he score
still
for Scotland?
convinced.
I'm sure he did.
Say that again?
Against Holland.
It was against Holland in a friendly. Pre-Euros.
When Henry scored for about 40 yards.
Yes, he did.
I think we should call up the one man that we can rely on, the tan man, Derek Lyle. He'd get a few goals. He's still playing it up. He's still playing it up in Goulburn Hill.
41 years of age.
Is it too late to give Stephen Dobie his deserved Scotland cap?
We should have had one in years ago.
That was blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy.
But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this qualifying campaign, one injury to Dykes, Adams, the backups aren't amazing, and
Barry Mackay.
That's the whole thing knackered.
He's a winger. Barry Mackay's a winger.
He's down as a forward on this.
Yes, but so is Ryan Fraser, and as far as I'm concerned, Ryan Fraser shouldn't be anywhere near the Scotland squad.
He's not even a
Let's just be
player.
honest. Let's just be honest. I'll put on Stuart Armstrong, regardless.
Regardless of whether he's playing in the Championship for Southampton next year.
Yeah. So, and the next point to go on to, which kind of links back to what I was saying about the fullback situation. What formation do we go for? I feel the consistency was maybe an issue, but in the past. But now, Greg, we're talking, seem to either go for a 5 at the back or stick with more of a 3. But what do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's the formation we seem to have gone for now with that 5, kind of with Robertson on the left, Tierney when he's available on the left of the centre halves, and those two both working down the left hand side, and then whoever it is on the right hand side as well as a proper full back or wing back. But you've seen some weird things. You've seen Scott McTominay drop into the defence, and I'm not, again, it's the other area of the park. You look and you go, should we really still be playing Grant Hanley if we want to qualify for a World Cup? Is Grant Hanley a good enough player to be playing for a team at a World Cup? He moves like a fridge.
Here he comes again, getting himself wound back up. What was it you shouted at him in Cardiff?
That he moved like a fridge.
Then,
when asked why I was abusing specifically Grant Hanley, responded that he was from Dumfries, so I was allowed to abuse him.
Some good homegrown talent there, and you're abusing him.
Oh, homegrown. I'm not good, but he's homegrown.
Yeah, he's not good.
Yeah, he should be playing. I'd play Henry and Porteous with McTominay.
You want McTominay in the centre half?
I don't think I agree with the McTominay centre back.
Not centre mid, but centre half, yeah.
I don't see what's wrong with keeping Tierney at left centre back. It seems to have worked a bit. It worked in quite a few of the qualifying games last time.
Well,
Tierney, Porteous, Hendry seems all right. Depends how Ryan Porteous does for Scotland. He's had that one game where he looked like a world beater, but you could probably play him in another 5 and he'd get sent off in at least 3 of them. So it depends which Ryan Porteous turns up.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that, Greg. I think playing Tierney maybe left centre back, and then I'd much rather have McTominay in the midfield. He's got a bit of height and physicality about him, while McGinn's running in and out, running the line.
Got Callum McGregor in with there as well, who's done a job for Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. He's been solid.
I was just going to say on the topic of Porteous, he's been linked with Udinese.
We're
He
coming on
has.
to that later on.
All right. Well,
You obviously didn't read the running order that I sent you.
No, because I forgot.
No, it's fine. Yeah, he had so. Yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Sorry.
Anyway, so leading all that up, hopes for Euro qualification. What are we thinking? Do you think likely that we'll make out of the group?
How many go through?
Top 2.
Well, but is this third place nonsense now?
Third place would probably get us playoffs because of our good record in the Nations League. Because we won the Nations League, we should have a playoff place if we fail to qualify.
I reckon we'll go playoffs. Maybe depends on who we get. So it's not out of the possibilities.
Who's in the group again? Norway, Spain,
Cyprus, Georgia.
I mean, apart from Norway and Spain, we are top 3.
I reckon we should
Well,
beat.
yeah, third's not good enough. Is it?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying within the top 3 teams. I think we could do
The thing
it.
is,
I
I
think
said
we
this at
Norway.
the time, and I got told off for being really negative at the time. But that group could have been so much better. There are so many better scenarios than the one we got. We ended up with Erling Haaland in our group, which we didn't really need. We were second seeds in this. And we've ended up with Erling Haaland in Norway. And yes, they've also got Odegaard, who's arguably been one of the best players in the Premier League this year. We also ended up with Georgia. We played Georgia twice away in 2007 and 2015, and we lost both of them. And we haven't ever scored a goal there.
I didn't realise that.
Mind the 2015 one.
Yeah, it's worrying.
As I
But
say, we'll beat Norway.
that game away in Georgia as well is the day the same match day. So it's the second last game. Georgia away is before Norway at home. So if we lose Georgia away, if that doesn't scupper us, if we've got decent results up to then, we've got to play Norway at home and we've probably got to beat them. A result against Spain does us a lot of favours.
I mean,
we
because
could beat
Spain were
the Spanish.
shite. They were bad at the World Cup, so you never know.
Remember back to the days when we nearly beat them at Hampden? Was it not 3-2?
Naismith diving header. I think. I'm sure it was
Yeah.
diving header.
If you look up Flower of Scotland, like Scottish national team Amy McDonald, that's the video that comes up. So, aye, yeah, kind of brings us to the end of that one. Let's move on. We've got some transfer news. We'll start off with the one that Kel's already mentioned. Ryan Porteous likely to leave this window. Udinese's been linked with.
I would have thought Rangers, but
Nah, he's too much. There's too much aggro between him and the Rangers fans the last time. I mean, personally, I wouldn't take him, but
I thought he was quite a good centre half.
very consistent. He's an airhead.
Better than James Sands, though.
I was going to say I'd quite enjoy seeing Rangers centre half pairing and John Suter and Ryan Porteous.
You'll never see John Suter play because he's always injured.
And when you do, him and Ryan Porteous will just punch fuck out each other.
Could hope so.
Suter would
Josh
lose.
Doig, no chance. Josh Doig mentioned him earlier. Had his move to Veronas, I believe it was, in the summer, and now he's being linked with another move. 6 million's the the tag being put on it. Quite a few teams I saw, like the Italian teams, the bigger teams, wanting him. But do you think Hibs will want him to stay? Think maybe he'll go for more in the future? Think they'll get more money for him because they have got a selling clause?
Is it up to Hibs or is it
No,
to
but I'm saying,
Verona?
do you think they'll hope that he maybe stays a wee bit longer, get a bit more money, or
I hope he does, but I think he'll go this window.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. It depends. Firstly, how much Porteous goes for, because Porteous is out of contract at the end of the season. He's expected to go this window, so there's some money coming in the door for Hibs there. If they got money for Doig this window, we don't know how much the selling clause is. If we say it's 20% and he goes for 6 million, that's another million plus in the bank. And Lee Johnson's been very, very vociferous in his criticism of the Hibernian squad. He's said it's complete shit, basically. So, getting some money in to get some more players through the door might actually be a decent thing for Hibs this window.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Actually, I think they kind of need to. I'm sick of hearing that Lee Johnson moaning. To be honest, Mindy basically just said that they should scrap the League Cup because they didn't do very well.
I mean, the reason they didn't do it very well is because he played an ineligible player. So, if we're scrapping the League Cup based on his complaints, we might as well not bother. I don't like the fact that Queens are out of the Scottish Cup. It doesn't mean we should scrap it.
Exactly.
I think they failed because they played Aidan McGeady. That was a bad move in its own right.
They signed him on his status in Scotland, as opposed to considering what age he is and his ability now.
You could say that about 90% of recent transfers in Scotland, to be fair.
He does the McGeady spin.
Was David Marshall to Hibs the world's best move? It's not horrendous, but Hibs might have got a better goalkeeper. I don't know.
He's not a
I
bad
don't know
goalie.
why I'm having a go at David Marshall now.
Mind Big Oxford that played for Hibs. Mind he scored from his own goal a few seasons ago. Or have I imagined that?
Don't play for Southend. Your lot.
No, but he did. I'm sure. Yeah, he did play at Hibs. So did he not score from his own half when he played for Hibs? Oh, right.
Mark Oxley. Continue. I'll get back to you on this one.
The Ox.
Yeah, he did score for Hibs.
Yeah, I thought so.
Who was it against?
I cannot remember.
Regardless, again, I think, as I say, 90% of Scottish transfers are signing old players for nostalgia, and the other 10% are signing the young players in the knowledge they'll get signed again in 10 years' time.
Speaking of that, Graham Shinney has returned to Aberdeen on loan.
Of course he has.
He must have been having withdrawal symptoms, so he's went back.
Yes, he's decided he's stole enough of a living elsewhere and decided to go back to somewhere where he might actually be bad enough to play for them.
Is he the one that played for Derby for 2 weeks? Or is it
I
Andrew?
thought he played for Derby for quite a while. He was at Wigan as well. He made 29 appearances for Wigan last season. Sorry, over 2 seasons. Yeah.
It was Graham I'm thinking of. Andrew plays for Birmingham.
Yeah, and going to what Greg said, there was maybe the 10% that are trying to sign young players. Hearts made a signing. I've not really heard of the boy. I think I'm going to picture this, but I think it's Utara Oda from Vissel Kobe. Now, I just thought that was a bit interesting actually, because you don't really see the likes of Hearts and them making moves in the international markets. Let's be honest.
No.
It's usually Celtic signing from those sides. But
I was going to say that because Celtic sign all these Japanese players, and it's working quite well for them. Maybe was it following suit?
Yeah, number 88, I believe, or was that the 72?
Weird.
The weird numbers.
The Gary Hooper 88.
One of the players that signed was 72, and I just thought maybe, well, Rangers connection obviously 72, but
yeah, but then the Celtic connection's 88, so there's that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Aye, maybe it's like 1 for 1, and then they can't complain.
No, at least there are 2 teams in the Scottish League. I'd be surprised if they know what one they've signed for.
Who does 88?
Is that like when Robinho signed for Manchester City, thinking it was Manchester United?
Yes. How about Newcastle are going to sign players? You're signing for United. Oh, Manchester United. No, Newcastle United. Actually, I'm pretty sure if you told most players they were signing for Newcastle instead of Manchester United, they'd bite their hand off.
I'll probably thank you.
Yeah.
Sticking with Scotland, there's been a link of a player to Rangers from Norwich. Cantwell has been linked. Seeing a lot of Celtic fans on the wind up with this, try to say that like Norwich as well, actually saying that he's went from playing in the Premier League to being linked with Rangers. And I mean, when was the last time Norwich were in the Europa League final? You know what I mean?
Probably.
You can't really comment on club stature, to be honest, when it's them. But I feel like it'd be a good move. From what I've seen of him, he was quite promising, or is promising.
He was shit
I
hot
mean,
in the Premiership.
yeah, when they were in the Premiership in the COVID season, and then he was shit hot after they got relegated in the Championship, and then they got promoted again, and he made 8 appearances, and then this year he's made 18 appearances in the Championship. Sorry, he made 8 appearances last year in the Premier League, and then went to Bournemouth in the Championship, made 11 appearances, and scored no goals.
He maybe peaked
So
too
he's
soon.
taken a bit of a dive.
Well, he's going to come up to Glasgow and rejuvenate his career.
In fact, I've just read actually at the end of the loan deal last season, Bournemouth chose not to sign him.
Oh,
So this
well,
appears to be Rangers doing their usual and clearing up kind of unwanted randoms
yeah.
from the Premier League and then selling them to Cardiff City again for ridiculous amounts of money. Jack Simpson.
Yeah, I worked for
I
Scott
think
Sinclair.
Shea Ojo was just a free, was it not?
Let's not start about Shea Ojo.
Right. Other side of the city, it looks like Maeda is being linked with Southampton. Southampton, a team very much struggling. Do you think it would be a good addition for them? Kel, I'll ask you this time.
I don't really know much about him. He looks good whenever I've seen him play. So, striker. Who's their striker? Che Adams.
Southampton,
Yeah,
yeah.
Adam Armstrong as well.
Yeah, so they probably do need some help.
Might have.
I think it could be a good signing if he can keep this form up. 'Cause he's in quite good form, I would say. Isn't he?
Yeah, he played well at the World Cup, but then you see, like, I never watched the game, but people were telling me about against Real Madrid, he had a sitter and he missed it, and I think he missed another sitter in another Champions League game. I feel like maybe he started off a bit inconsistent, but he seems to be on form now. I mean, the goal was 100% Morelos' fault, but it was some finish, like, under the composure in the Old Firm there, first goal. Took it
Good at the
well.
World Cup as well.
Yeah, played some big games at the World Cup. So yeah, maybe that'd be a good move. I'm
I don't know how
sure.
much it's
Well,
for, but
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Actually, I wonder how much they'll get for him. But let's be honest, Southampton have a history of snapping up Celtic players.
I've just
Can you
seen
tell me how much you think you'll get for them? They'll get for him in multiples of Juranovic, please.
I was going to
Are
say
we talking
Dembele
like
dollars.
Juranovic?
Then belly dollars.
I think
I like
it's
that
probably
one.
about 15.
No, I'd say more like
15 real
maybe
money.
like 7 to 10, maybe. I don't know. Greg, you work more with money and
You're
stats and
cleverer.
stuff.
I don't even know how much he's worth at this stage because he's one of those players you could see a Premier League team ship out a ridiculous amount of money for. Because I think if Celtic got a stupid offer, they're in a position where they can just say no. Because Southampton, they're probably a bit desperate at this point. Because let's be honest, they're not very good. Thing is, looking at the team that played Crystal Palace, right? So they had a midfield kind of holding pair of Ward-Prowse and Maitland-Niles. Then the kind of front four was Edozie, Aribo, Adam Armstrong, and Che Adams. So is it a case that he might actually be replacing another player they bought from Scotland in Joe Aribo?
Maybe.
Sure.
How much did he go for from Rangers?
Oh, it wasn't that much.
Is he better than Aribo was last season? Maybe.
Rebo was signed like with not it didn't cost much because I'm sure it was a development fee from Charlton, but I don't think he went for that much.
I don't
Is
think
it-
he went particularly much.
Is he better than Aribo was last season?
I don't know, different positions though.
Yeah,
It's hard to compare.
But Maeda's not got a European Cup final goal, so
that is true.
Recently.
not yet.
I love Joe Rebo forever for that. Don't say that.
It was 7 million Joe Aribo went for.
Because Bassey went for like 24, did it not?
Sorry, so 6 that could rise to 10.
Mental.
But that's good because at least we know that, like, if you're a Liverpool fan, you can buy your Maida Liverpool top in a few years' time. Following the traditional route of Celtic, Southampton, Liverpool.
True, actually, yeah. Speaking of the Premier League, Chelsea have signed Yao Felix on loan, and Greg was telling me that it is a £9.7 million as a loan is costing them. Greg, what was it you said? Quote, are they buying their way out of a crisis? I like that. Expand, please.
Yes. It seems like since Todd Bowley's taken over at Chelsea, he seems to think that the way in which you do well in the Premier League is to buy a load of players for a load of money. And then when all those players come in and don't do very well, you get to January and buy some more to try and get yourself out of the hole you've dug yourself in because you've bought too many players.
I mean, it does seem to be that way, and let's be honest, if we've got money to spend, they will.
Again,
Oh, sorry.
you look at that Chelsea side and you go, who the hell is he replacing?
Oh, the
Yeah.
strikers, because there's no good striker, is there?
He's not a striker. Well, is he not more of a cam or a CF?
I think he's like a centre forward, like a number 10.
Aubameyang, maybe?
Abama who? Abama what? I don't know say it.
Maybe
You've got,
maybe Ziyech. Maybe he's going. They're in the wing.
yeah. They also signed Sterling in the summer
He's pish. Sorry.
with
Don't worry.
Pulisic, Havertz.
Mount.
There's a ton of upfront talent there. You look at that Chelsea squad and you try and wonder out A, why they're doing so badly, and B, why they seem to think that buying more people will solve the problem, because it hasn't so far.
Well, there's one reason. Graham Potter. He's not up to it.
If they wanted to, they could recall Lukaku. I don't know if they can recall Lukaku, but Lukaku's technically still their player.
Is he? I thought he was sold.
No, he's only on loan to Inter Milan. I don't know whether that has an obligation to buy as part of it, but he's still technically their player.
Well, I noticed that Felix's isn't a loan to buy, it's just a straight loan.
Yeah. Rumours, Manchester United were also interested in him, and Arsenal. He's picked Chelsea, apparently. Apparently he picked Chelsea.
Money talks.
Money evidently does talk. Which is a shame, because I think Manchester United is the exact type of player Manchester United need. Someone who will score the goals that Martial inevitably won't. I don't know why I'm throwing shade at everyone again this week, but it appears I am.
They've got Rashford who's finding a bit of form, haven't they?
Yeah, but he's playing out wide, and I think Rashford looks a better player when he's out wide rather than in the middle.
Well, man, you're signing Weghorst.
Is that actually happening? Or is this
I
am I still in some sort of fever dream?
I read today that apparently he needs to pay the basically money for him to move by like his own money.
I'll just tell you. What was it saying?
What's the next if Man United do sign Wout Weghorst that they try that free kick from the World Cup at least once at some point this season?
Apparently they've got a deal in principle,
God's sake.
but they should await termination for must be the loan to Besiktas.
Does he have the same agent as Roberto Martinez?
Is he not actually a decent
Probably.
player?
Who,
never-
Martinez? I'm joking.
Played for Motherwell, which is fine, thanks for asking.
No.
I'm sure he's played quite well, Weghorst, bar when he's at Burnley.
Yeah, don't know.
Never really watched him play, I don't really care about him, to be honest.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up the transfer goss for this week, because it's good that we're finally into a transfer window that we can talk about. So going on an international stage this now. Well, no, it's obviously he's from Britain and that, but Gareth Bale has retired. I thought it was just from international football, but Greg informs me it's just all football.
Everything.
I thought it was just international football.
He's not retired from the golf course. It's all right, lads.
I saw the Masters.
I saw a picture and it was after he's retired. It's appearances for Cardiff 0. I think it was causing a lot of upset for the Cardiff fans. I thought he'd have retired there, to be honest.
Nah, I think when he signed for LAFC, you could see it coming a mile off. You could see, because their season ended when it did, and it starts again next month, you could see the sign for LAFC, play some decent football because he helped them win the MLS Cup, goes to the World Cup, get knocked out with Wales, retire. The kind of plan was always seemed to be written.
See how you just said about the league's just finished and that it starts again. That must have been absolute mayhem for those teams who had players playing in the World Cup.
Well, I suppose it's no different to, like in a normal season. Like, if you think of it the other way around about, leagues that usually play winter football as we do always have the World Cup at the end of their season. So it's just the same thing, but the other way around about. Where we have
December.
had a break in our season, they got the World Cup at the end of their season. Thing is, though, like, when we say appearances for Cardiff Zero, if he went and retired there, if he'd went there in the summer, which I would have absolutely loved because I would have been there to see him probably not do very much. But can you think of anything worse for Bale pre-World Cup than getting kicked in the Championship? Because
Yeah.
all that would happen is you'd sign Gareth Bale, you'd probably play Millwall away, someone would 2-foot him, and that would be him out for the World Cup.
It gets all
Yeah, it's a good point, to be honest. What was that?
It gets Sol Bambu'd. Again, he plays for
To be fair,
Cardiff.
if there's one defender who would absolutely kill him, it's Cedric Keepray, which is alright because he already plays for Cardiff.
Well,
Also,
that's
former
something.
Motherwell player.
Getting a good representation this week.
They are.
Another international gossip. Apparently, Steven Gerrard is being linked to manage the Polish national team. Being linked up with his favourite Matty Cash.
Don't tease me.
Kel likes a bit of Matty Cash,
Can I beat him?
especially when FIFA just gave him a baldy for no reason.
Well, it's quite fun actually
So-
because they both can't speak English, like Polish and Scouse, so should be a good match.
Just them two talking to each other and the rest of them just looking.
No, like the Polish people and Gerrard.
No, that's what I'm saying. Lewandowski's probably have managed the rest of them. But
Well, before the World Cup, they had Marcelo Bielsa in, analysing their opponents and speaking to them. That didn't work, evidently. They got knocked out. By France, I suppose. They got through the group.
yeah, I mean, France were playing at a decent level, let's be honest, to make the final, so. What's up, Greg?
Where is Bielsa at these days?
I
Is he
don't
the
think
job
he's doing
centre?
anything at the minute.
No, because it was one of the ones we discussed about getting the Rangers job in episode 2.
That was 8 weeks ago. These guys fucking
It
nursing
was.
here.
Probably, let's be honest, he's not the youngest, he's probably just enjoying himself. Getting paid to do analysis and such.
Fine, come get us,
Oh.
Landon.
I know. Have him on the podcast, yeah.
Marcelo, if you're listening.
We will not pay for an interpreter. We know you can kind of speak English. That'll do. It's probably just as good as Kyle's.
Just rebrand it. 3 pints of Marcelo.
It's fine, we speak shite anyway, so
Yeah.
I could do a bit of rendition and march on together if that'll get him here. That'll probably wind him up.
PTSD.
I know, I don't even like them, so it's fine. Yeah, so what do we think, just before we move on? Gerrard to Poland? I think it sounds a bit silly, but...
Interesting, but international football is quite silly with their coaches. Again,
It's-
Martinez.
Yeah. Right.
It's absolutely ludicrous. And another shout out to former Motherwell players. I'd like to give a big shout out to Gail Bagidi Mana, former Newcastle United legend. Gail, if you're listening, want to come on the podcast, we'll also happily have you on.
Formerly of Rangers as well.
Yes, formerly of Rangers, never made an appearance.
Yeah.
Told Stuart McCall they should never have signed him in the first place.
Part of the Fantastic Five it went. About 2 of them played.
Yeah, true, actually. So we've looked at Scottish football internationally, we've looked at the transfer gossip, international gossip, and now we're bringing it on back down to the lovely Dumfries and Galloway, where Marvin Bartley has just been appointed the new Queen of the South manager.
Hey!
I'm
God.
happy with it. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction from the club. Although it's his first job, I feel like he's had plenty of compliments from the likes of Davy Martindale and the Livingston team.
There's
Shows
less
a bit of
clubs.
ambition.
There's worse clubs than Livingston to start your sort of coaching career at.
Well, the thing is, he was
He's been
actually
coaching since he was 24. Yeah.
he was a coach. He's worked under Eddie Howe at Bournemouth and Sean Dyche at Burnley as well, so he's got a
Mind
whole
that.
load of experience there.
And Neil Lennon as well, if that counts.
No,
No,
that's probably
it
made him worse.
but yeah, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for Queens. Great result last night. Well, I say great, we beat them on penalties, but you know what? Great considering how bad we've been into the SPFL Trust Trophy,
Semis.
or formerly known as the Diddy Cup.
We've still not beat Kelty in 90 minutes this season. That's worrying.
I was going to call it the Tunnocks Caravan Wafer over the Sink Cup.
Every
We'll start-
week.
We'll start a petition to make it that cup, the Tunnocks tea cake over the sink challenge cup.
Well, we're in the semis, so that. Have you seen that the still game reference, or is it the tune the fat? Oh, the semis.
No.
I think I said it wrong, but you know, it don't matter.
I was back on Bartley quickly. It's quite good that it shows intent that they've bought out his contract. Shows they actually can spend money.
Which we didn't think they could.
I thought their wallet was just fucking painted on.
Well, to be fair, Livingston will be quite happy because they've probably just gave some of the money that Livingston gave us for Lyndon Dykes back.
Yeah, true.
I was going to say, thank God, a former defender says he wants to help strengthen the defence and help us concede less goals. Scoring goals hasn't really been our problem. 34 goals, 21 games, scored more than Dunfermline, who are at the top of the league. On the other hand, we've conceded 36 goals in 21 games.
What's the other mental stats? Like 5 or 6 games we've been ahead and then lost.
I think it's 18 points we've dropped
18.
from.
That's mental.
Well, a wee birdie's telling me that Bartlett's going to get his boots on himself to go in defence.
No, not another player manager. No.
I was kidding.
He said, well, it's not very funny. Don't wind us up. Nah, he said he's not. So yeah.
He's 36, so he's probably happily retired.
Right, we're moving south of the border this time. Some FA Cup upsets.
You wanna be free? Come south of the border with me.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for that. Ed Sheeran, if you're listening, if you want to come on the podcast,
I was just Ed Sheeran.
you can.
I mean, your mother fancied Stuart McCall. Does she also fancy Ed Sheeran's? I think for ginger she's got.
No, it was my auntie, mate.
Oh, your auntie, sorry. Do you want to ask your mother next time you see her if she also fancies Stuart McCall?
I thought Stuart McCall was a good looking guy back in the day.
No, he looks like a fucking grandma.
Stuart, if you're listening, he didn't mean it. Please come on the podcast.
I'll challenge it my fight.
Yes, we'll ask you about the time she lost to Queens. It'll be delightful.
We'll make it a tag team match. Me and Greg v Scott Brown and Stuart McCall.
Stevenage last minute winner against Aston Villa, and the goal scorer was in fact a loanee from Aberdeen, young Dean Campbell. When I saw D Campbell, I thought DJ Campbell, and I thought, no, that's a throwback.
So that really is a throwback.
Yeah, massive result for Stevenage. I saw a video from the away end because they were right up at the corner was taken at that side, and it looks absolutely mental.
At Villa Park, aye.
Yep.
Crazy.
Serves them right for taking the piss out of Newcastle for getting knocked out the FA Cup.
Just shows you the much.
Newcastle for some reason.
Villa fans hate everyone.
Newcastle fans hate Villa fans because Villa relegated Newcastle the first time, and now for some reason Newcastle hate Villa hate Newcastle too.
Salty.
Probably because they're jealous of all the Saudi oil money.
Speaking of one of Greg's teams, Cardiff 2, Leeds 2. Do you want to talk about that one, Greg? Because I never saw it.
Yeah, I also didn't see it. I had BBC Radio Wales on in the car telling me about Cardiff City throwing away a 2-0 lead. As a Queens fan, that feeling's familiar. Goals from Andy Rinomota, I believe, or Jayden Philogene. I get them two confused all the time. I can never remember who scored. The other one was scored by Shea Ojo, who I've already thrown some shade on. And then Cardiff completely throwing it away. Rodrigo scoring, and then Joe Baggin handballing it online, getting sent off. Them missing the penalty afterwards, and sadly score an equaliser, so Cardiff will get a nice trip to Ellen Road.
Yeah. So, I mean, good for Cardiff, a bit more income because they split it quite well in the FA Cup, did they not? Income. So, yeah. And then another Welsh team. Massive result. None of us predicted it. Kyle was closest, was saying a draw, but close, but
Okay.
no cigar.
You get a bonus point for being ballsy
No
to say that.
chance. Coventry 3, Wrexham 4. Massive result.
That's
What's that, National League to Championship?
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. League One, or is it Championship for Coventry?
Oh, Championship. Actually,
Championship.
Coventry.
Is it?
But actually, they're an alright team, actually. They're kind of mid-table.
Just shows you, really, I
Good
think.
stadium.
Yeah.
Not much longer, Mike Ashley. Ooh.
Reward for Wrexham being another home tie, Sheffield United.
That'll bring in some pennies.
Yeah. And
You see, they're doing up that stand that was like the cop end, I think they called it. Whatever, it was covered up for years. I saw it in the documentary. And apparently, they've started renovating that. Obviously, not going to be done in nearly in time for that game, but yeah.
very nice. I also see that Rob McElhenney, one of the owners, the ESPN feed in America went down, so he missed the final moments to be told on Twitter that they'd won.
That's mental. What a kick in the bollocks that is. Right. Good chat today. Let's move on to the predictions.
Wait,
There was some.
I've got a bit of transfer news. Ali Roy has joined Morton
Is it?
on loan from Glentoran.
I wonder how many appearances he made for Glentoran.
Not very many, I don't think. Let's have a quick look through
How
the
is he
power.
managed to get another championship move? He was absolutely rotten last season.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 4. 4 goals and 26 starts for Queens. 6 goals in 4 games in the League Cup and 2 in the Challenge Cup. He made 15 appearances for
Glentoran.
Glentoran and scored 1 goal. His career, he scored 40 goals in 206 games, including Cup.
That's really bad for a striker.
Yeah,
That's
it
like,
is. But if they watch me play, they'd learn a thing or two.
Would they? Aye.
Maybe not about scoring, but other things.
Anyway,
right. Predictions.
predictions. Pretty poor week for Kyle last week, despite saying he'd go back to the top, only scoring 4 points.
Didn't ask.
Robert scoring 6 and myself scoring 7. That takes the total scores to Kyle on,
Rigged.
I can't remember what Greg said there.
Kyle on 38. Despite telling me it's rigged, it's not. He just picked shit selections, like Portsmouth to draw with Tottenham. And me and Robert are back tied at the top again on 41. This week, my choice of games, we'll rattle through these fairly quickly. As usual, 2 games from all 4 Scottish leagues and 2 wildcards. First game this week is Motherwell versus Ross County. Motherwell could leapfrog Kilmarnock with a win, lost thanks to Hibs last week, Kevin Nisbet. A Ross County win would take them to the same number of points as Motherwell. They lost at the weekend to Livingston, despite the fact I wrote Liverpool in my box. Ross County clearly did not lose to Liverpool at the weekend.
I said something like that in one of the first episodes, did I not? I think it was the
Peterhead
week
to
we
beat
were
Bristol.
off. Yeah, was it? I knew it was something like that.
What do we think, lads? A battle at the bottom.
Motherwell win. The well. Motherwell!
I've said,
Motherwell!
Special.
I've said the well. Surely on the home advantage.
You also said, for some reason I've decided that Malky Mackay's men are slightly better than they are, and I've gone for a draw.
Malky Mackay.
I'm surprised Queens didn't hire Malky Mackay to replace Willie Gibson. One racist following the other. Sorry,
Anyway,
Willie. Sorry, Malky.
Wasn't
Game
that
of
when you
what-
were slating Ronaldo?
Game 2, St Johnstone versus Livingston.
so I mean Liverpool.
Yes. St Johnstone, the 2-0 loss to Aberdeen, compounding a poor run. They've now lost 4 in a row. Livingston, with another 2-0 win at the Tony Macaroni last week, at the Spaghetti had, they are unbeaten in all 3 games, both home and away. What do we think?
I think that I'll be out with a reason. Oh, what's what I'm trying to say here? I think they'll basically get their arse into gear, but Livingston will be playing well, so I think draw.
You think a draw?
I've said Livingston because they're unbeaten in the last 3. St Johnstone have lost the last 4, so
I have also gone for a Livingston win. Game number 3 into the Championship, Cove Rangers again versus Wraith Rovers. I wrote LOL in the Cove Rangers box because they've shipped 12 goals in the last 2 games. Shipping 6 was enough to sack Jim McIntyre, but apparently not to sack the new manager and Paul Hartley they've appointed. Wraith, on the other hand, unbeaten for play tonight in the Challenge Cup.
I have
Unbeaten
put
5.
Wraith Rovers.
Well,
I think Wraith will do it.
I've put Wraith. I've got them down as unbeaten in 5.
Oh, maybe yours was all competitions. Mine was just the
Yeah.
league.
Mine's is all competitions, I think.
Ah,
Yeah, and Wraith.
I have also gone Wraith Rovers. That's 3 choices for Wraith Rovers. So if anyone wants to put money on a Cove Rangers win, now is the time to do so.
Cove win, I'll buy a Cove top.
Smash it. We'll hold you to that.
I haven't wrote that down.
It's now recorded and going live. If anyone this has heard this once, Cove Rangers have beat Wraith Rovers. Tweet
Yeah.
Kyle until he buys a Cove Rangers top.
It's got to be a Cove win. None of this draw. None of this Wraith. It's got to be a Cove Rangers win.
That's fine.
I'm happy to drop the points here.
Yeah, same. Game number 4, Dundee versus Partick Thistle. Dundee now 2 without a win and 4 points behind Queen's Park at the top of the table. That's fine. I don't care that Queen's Park at the top of the league. It's not Ayr. Partick Thistle, on the other hand, a bop against Queen's Park, but a decent 2-1 win over Morton at the weekend.
I went for a draw. Just both have quite similar form. So,
Robert?
Going Partick Thistle.
Oh, you're going THISTLA. I've not. I've gone Dundee. So we've got all 3 scenarios there, so at least someone's getting a point.
She's speaking of. Did you say Queen's Park there?
They're top of the league, yes.
Yeah. Me and Greg were talking about it. Completely forgot that Owen Coyle was the manager.
I completely forgot Owen Coyle even existed, to be honest.
just refresh
Right,
memories.
let's go. Next one.
Into League One. Kelty Hearts, our favourite team. I've not picked Clyde this week for the first time in a while, but I'll still tell you they've still not won a game since August. Kelty v Airdrie. Kelty took Queens to penalties last night and beat Clyde at the weekend. Airdrie, for some reason, I looked at the table and seen they were 4th and don't quite know how. They've quite quietly gone about their business, I think.
I'm going Airdrie. And I see Josh Ray's back from after a 6-month injury.
No, just shite. I went for a draw.
I have went for an Airdrie one as well. Game 6, Montrose versus the Marvin Bartley's Blue and White Army, Queen of the South. Montrose, no wins in 5 at all, including a disappointing 0-0 win against Peterhead. Queens, I wrote again here, have scored more league goals than Dunfermline, but are in 8th and have only won 1 game in 5.
Did he just say 0-0 win?
No,
Did I just hear? I don't know why, but I thought you said a disappointing 0-0 win. I'll have to wind that one back. I'm going Bartley's boys. I'm going the Queen of the South. The Queens, the tin of beans. Yeah.
I'm going for the new manager bounce of Marvin's men.
Right, Greg, you've got to come up with a different variation.
I've decided that Marvin is Marvin's magic, so I've also went for Queen of the South. If anyone else loves, as a child, had a Marvin's Magic set, that's a shout out for you.
Oh no, yeah, my brother had one.
Thanks. Game 7, League 2. I'm getting told to hurry up. East Fife versus Stinnesmuir. East Fife proved us all wrong last week with a decent win over Elgin. Stinnesmuir got back to winning ways under Gary Naismith against Stranraer.
Come to me last. I can't decide.
Kyle,
Is this the Fife Stenny game? Aye.
it is East Fife Stenny, yeah. That
Aye,
is
I've
what I've
got-
just.
Yeah, I was zoned out. I've got Fife. Just
You've gone for East Fife.
form shite, but home advantage. It's the standard.
After proving us wrong last week, I've also gone with East Fife.
Make that a three-peat. I'm going to go East Fife as well.
Because he knows if he doesn't know, at least we can all be wrong together.
No, I got to Partick and then stopped writing my answers. I don't know why.
Other game in League 2, Stranraer versus Albion. Again, I say this every week. League 2 is absolutely mental. Stranraer are one of 5 teams who could finish the day bottom. Albion thumped Bonnyrigg 4-0 to put an end to 3 losses in a row and stuff my coupon.
I'm going Albion.
I'm going for a draw.
I'm also going for a draw.
Notably, Albion won 1-0 last time in Albion, so
Good to know.
could be close.
Also, for all pedants out there, Albion playing Coatbridge. Albion's not a place.
At Albion, I
Two
mean.
wild cards this week. First one in the Highland League. Brecon City versus Fraserburgh, first versus third. Brecon unbeaten in the league. The last time I picked a team that were unbeaten in the league, it was the New Saints, and they lost. They drew, so they're still unbeaten, but they almost lost. Fraserburgh 8 points behind, but have scored more goals than them. The real question is, Kyle Palmer, how many balls will get stuck in the hedge at Glebe Park?
I don't know, I've never been. 7? I'll say 7.
7. And who's going to win?
I've
I'm
went.
going for Brecon.
I have done a breaching as well.
I also have Brecon. Last game in the English Premier League, we've not spoke about this, but it's a massive game this week. Manchester United versus Manchester City at 12:30 on Saturday. Man United unbeaten before the World Cup, but sorry to all Man United fans, I need to remind you lost 6-3 at the Etihad. Man City with 2 impressive wins over Chelsea, still 5 points behind Arsenal. If United win, they'll go 1 point behind City.
I'm going a draw.
But Man City, with my reasoning being, obviously.
I have also went Man City with my reasoning being Erling Haaland.
I just want it to be different. I know you'd both pick City. Yeah. Well, and that concludes this week's predictions. Next week we're going to go into a more in-depth analysis about the results and such. But yes, thank you very much for listening. This has been episode 10. We're flying through them now, boys.
Actually, I've got one last point to make. Me and Greg discussed this on Saturday. The Bovril again was fucking stinking. Very salty. Wasn't it warm? So
I forgot about your Bovril review.
I was sure to
I'm
fucking
glad you
write
got
it
that in
down.
there.
It was probably worse than the week before. They're getting worse. So hopefully Marvin Bartley brings a new Bovril.
They need to bring in the ones that are pre-made because they're the nice ones. The ones that we
Is-
have at Queen's are like the ones.
I know, isn't it? It comes with a big dolly. Ugh.
They must chop like when you buy the jars and you put it in that way, it's not as nice. You need to get the ones with the pre-made powder and you just add the hot water.
Like Falkirk.
Well, but the Ibrox has good ones.
I'm gonna bring
Right,
mine.
anyway. See how that gets you last time you took a plastic bottle in.
Right, so stay tuned for my next Bovril update, which could be anytime soon.
No, it won't, because
Thanks.
Queens have 2 away games against Montrose and Peterheath, and I can pretty much guess you're not going.
I'll buy mine then.
FC Edinburgh at home's the next one. Anyway,
2 weeks, sort it out.
yes, that concludes us for this week. Thank you very much for listening. Like I said, all the YouTube videos are up. Please give them a listen and a like and a subscribe and a wee bell that Greg likes. And then you can go to the Twitter and you can follow and you can like and you can retweet and you can quote tweet and you can send it to your wee pals on Twitter DM. And then you can go onto Instagram and you can give it a like and you can put it on your story and you can DM it to someone and you can do all those type of things.
Save it to
You
collection.
can DM us and tell us how much you hate us.
Just a bit of interaction would be good. But yes, thank you.
Just talk to us, we're lonely.
We're hoping next week, not promising, but we're hoping next week we will be filming it, so that would be ideal. But, you know, like all podcasts, we've started somewhere, we've definitely improved. We've improved it a lot, I'd say. So we're making moves in the right direction, like Queen of the South, so let's hope
What's it Drake
Everyone
says?
gets through.
I would like to say on that note, Queen of the South, the last move Queen of the South made in the table was from 7th to 8th, and then last season from the Championship to League One. So hopefully we're not moving like them.
No, I meant just cup semi-final.
It's all about the cups.
Anyway, started from the bottom. There, we're here. Kyle was what you were wanting.
Yeah.
Right, cheerio.
Ta-da.
Arrivederci.